On Christmas Eve, 1926, a young man at a party starts feeling ill. It doesn't take much time for his condition to worsen. No one around is able to help, so he's taken to the Bellevue Hospital, located in New York City. By the time he arrives, he's already permanently blind. And he's not the only one. Over 60 people also fall ill, and 23 eventually die. But what caused these strange deaths? The answer? Methanol poisoned alcohol. But why was it poisoned? The US federal government mandated it. But why would they do that? Did they know this would happen? Championed by groups like the Anti-Saloon League and various Protestant churches, Prohibition was seen as a moral crusade against the ills of society, ranging from domestic violence to poverty and crime. It was also backed by concerns for public health, aiming to curb alcohol-related diseases and addiction. During the fervor for reform in the Progressive Era, Prohibition was celebrated as an advancement aimed at fostering a more just and well-regulated society. By 1919, 33 states had already enacted some form of prohibition legislation, and on January 16th, the 18th Amendment was added to the US Constitution by the Senate, outlawing the manufacturing, importing, transporting, and selling of alcoholic beverages. And so, on January 17th, 1920, Prohibition began. With the ban on alcohol in place, individuals known as bootleggers took to smuggling and producing illicit liquor to satisfy the demand. These operations ranged from small-scale homebrewing to large organized crime networks. Bootleggers devised ingenious methods to transport and distribute alcohol, including hidden compartments in vehicles, underground tunnels, and false bottom crates. Speakeasies, secret bars that served illegal alcohol, became hubs for bootleggers to sell their contraband. The allure of quick profits attracted not only criminals, but also ordinary citizens, willing to flout the law. Despite law enforcement's best efforts, bootlegging persisted throughout Prohibition, fueling a black market economy and contributing to the rise of organized crime syndicates like the infamous Al Capone empire in Chicago. But where did this leave the government? With Prohibition not working as intended, the government sought ways to make alcohol less appealing. The strategy behind this was to render industrial alcohol, which was used in manufacturing and other legitimate industries, undrinkable by adding toxic substances to it. This process, known as denaturing, was meant to deter people from consuming the alcohol illegally. The most common additive was methanol, which is highly toxic and can cause blindness or death upon ingestion. But what would this feel like if you were to drink it? Well, within hours of methanol consumption, the methanol rapidly metabolizes into formaldehyde and formic acid within the body, causing dizziness, nausea, and severe headaches. The formaldehyde and formic acid causes irreversible damage to the optic nerve, leading to partial or total blindness. As the toxicity progresses, the individual suffers from confusion, seizures, and organ failure, particularly affecting the liver and kidneys. Without immediate medical intervention, the methanol poisoning would quickly escalate, potentially resulting in coma and death. Who would want others to experience this? The answer is surprising, or maybe not so surprising. In 1926, the US Treasury Department mandated that 10% of alcohol be methanol in an effort to scare people from drinking it. This would, of course, be a massive failure. Going back to our initial story, we know that 23 people in New York died during that week. In a press conference about these recent developments, the New York City medical examiner Charles Norris said, "The government knows it is not stopping drinking by putting poison in alcohol, yet it continues its poisoning processes, heedless of the fact that people determined to drink are daily absorbing that poison." Knowing this to be true, the United States government must be charged with the moral responsibility for the deaths that poisoned liquor causes, although it cannot be held legally responsible. And despite these statements, the government continued to mandate that high amounts of methanol be added to the alcohol, and the death toll continued to rise. This continued for 7 years until 1933, when the 21st Amendment ended Prohibition. By this time, an estimated 10,000 people had died due to poisoned alcohol. The poisoning of alcohol during Prohibition serves as a grim reminder of the unintended consequences of extreme enforcement measures. While the government sought to deter illegal drinking by adding toxic substances like methanol to industrial alcohol, the result was widespread illness, blindness, and death among those who consumed these illicit beverages. Despite their intentions, this strategy exacerbated public health issues and fueled public distrust of government intervention. The suffering caused by methanol poisoning highlights the dangers of implementing policies without considering their broader impact. Prohibition's failure to address underlying societal issues and the unintended harm caused by enforcement tactics underscores the need for balanced, evidence-based approaches to social problems. The era of Prohibition and its poisoning of alcohol stand as cautionary tales, reminding us of the dangers of pursuing moral objectives without fully understanding the consequences. And so concludes our journey. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I genuinely appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it in the future, please consider subscribing. And as always, if there's a disturbing moment in history that you'd like to be covered, please share it in the comment section below.